Well, a really incredible warm morning here on the 10th of March, 2021. Temperature at my house did not get below 45 degrees overnight. It's 50 now. It's cloudy. There's going to be a little bit of wind from the southwest today. Here's our surface map with a cyclone on the Kansas-Nebraska border. And the isobars, the white lines, constant sea level pressure lines, are pretty tightly spaced across the central plains. And so that means the winds are going to come, since the flow is around a low pressure system in a counterclockwise fashion. The winds are going to be coming from the south-southwest all day today. So continued importation of warmer air, moister air too, and you'll see it in just a minute. And that's going to be associated with the occasional thunder shower during the day today. We should get a little bit of rain during the day today. And then later on in the evening, the temperatures will cool a little bit, but they won't get cold. It'll just be a little bit of a cool down from the probably low 60s we might actually get to before the cool down begins. Meanwhile, to our west, over the Dakotas, Nebraska, parts of Wyoming and Colorado, especially in the foothills of the Colorado Rockies, they are getting ready for what's going to be a substantial high-impact weather event over the next several days. This first storm with which we're contending today will probably exit that region of the central Colorado Rockies during the day today. It's already snowing in Boulder and Denver and places like that. But the next storm, which doesn't look like it has much shape right now, is on the west coast. You'll see in the satellite picture it's quite an obvious disturbance. And that thing is going to take its time coming across the southern Rocky Mountains, reorganize itself in the southwestern plains, and then really bury the Boulder and Denver metro areas with a major snow Saturday through Monday. So it's going to be a major Colorado Plains blizzard in the coming weekend. So pretty exciting to watch from afar. I'll have more to say about that on Friday. But that's today. The main weather events are the one over the central plains of the United States, with which we'll have to contend. Here is the giant anticyclone region of high pressure that has now slid to the east, that gave us our beautiful Monday and Tuesday, especially beautiful yesterday, as it was warmer and warmer on the western side of this big circulation feature, around which the flow is clockwise, so that's where we began our southwesterly flow. And then the second big feature is the cyclone off the coast of California, which we'll see here in just a minute. The temperatures this morning reflect the change that's occurred by placing this cyclone over the Kansas-Nebraska border. On the eastern side of it, where the flow is from the southwest, uniform temperatures from the Rio Grande Valley all the way toward sort of central or southern Iowa. So 60s everywhere in this giant expanse this morning, and we're only a little bit colder at 50. 50 at Green Bay, 47 at Houghton, Michigan. So pretty nice day, a little bit chillier to the north and west. That's air that's making its way towards us slowly during the day today, and will become sort of encamped over us Thursday and Friday. But it won't be 30 or 37 during the day. It'll be that way in the morning. And then the Pacific Coast is still dark, of course. This is at 7:50 our time this morning, and so it's 5:50 for them. And so you have temperatures in the mid-40s with light rain showers along the coast of California. And look at down in Florida, of course. Very warm, 71 in Miami, 56 Jacksonville. That's almost like what we are. But this is a really wide expanse of warm temperatures across the country. And remember, we've begun to look at the dew point temperature map every day. So I want to show you that from this morning. Here's a big plume of really high water vapor content, as evidenced by the high dew points. The Madison dew point today is 44. There was a time not even 10 days ago we hadn't seen a high temperature of 44 in 2 months. And now we've got a dew point of 44. It's 45 at Green Bay, 45 at St. Louis. Look at these dew points along the Texas coast. In the 60s at Houston and Corpus Christi. That's really humid, muggy air. In fact, those are the highest dew points in the country. I think they even exceed the high dew points of New Orleans and Miami. I want to just show you the contrast between this morning and Wednesday morning. So here's Monday morning. This was Monday morning's first ever dew point map in class. And look at the central part of the United States. Dew points in the high 20s to low 30s. And today, a huge importation of very large water vapor content has invaded the central part of the United States. And that is part of the reason why there's widespread showery precipitation across the country, and why there's going to be snow in Colorado. Look at the dew point, for instance, at Boulder. It was 20 on Monday. It's 32 now this morning. So considerably more water vapor in the air, even in places that don't show up as green in this map. So this is really a nice example of a change, and the kind of change that can occur in the spring. So let's take a look at the satellite movie now across the central United States, the continental United States and adjacent waters. So we've got The first storm with which, as I said, we're contending, we're going to have clouds and later on some convective, maybe even a clap of thunder and a little bit of lightning. It's not impossible. We'll see some of that perhaps today. It'll stay warm all day long. And then as this storm moves out to the north and east, on its western side, we'll start to have cold air advection filter in, and the temperatures will drop some. But as I said, not desperately so. But this storm has got a pretty big expanse. It covers a lot of area, and it doesn't look particularly well organized. And I think that's a fair comment to make about this one. This thing here off the west coast, we got a decent view of it even on the continental U.S. satellite movie, but you can see the open cellular, so-called open cellular convection, the popcorn-looking cumulus clouds here, indicative of very cold air at upper levels. And the colder the air is at upper levels, the less stably stratified the column is going to be. We won't talk about that in the lecture today, but we will on Friday. So we're seeing things that are manifestations of the very concepts we're talking about in class now. So I think you can see how these weather discussions begin to have more and more substance to them. And for you, especially learning the material, you get to see more and more about what there really is to say about the weather, and you see it with new eyes. And that's the whole point of education. Seeing old things with new eyes is exactly what we're trying to do here at the university. So this is kind of fun to help you see this. Okay, so this is storm number 1. We'll contend with that today. And then storm number 2, which will take its sweet time getting across the Gadsden Purchase area of the southwest U.S. over the early part of the weekend, will become a major factor late in the weekend. And we'll see that a little bit more in detail on Friday's discussion. So let's now look at the radar across the country. And as you can see, there really are only 2 stories. One of them is this expansive cloud and precipitation region in the central United States with this not so well organized cyclone. But most of the precipitation that's falling is occurring over our state. And we're just finding holes between these convective cells here in Madison right now. We may not have that luck all through the day. And then here's back on the western side. This is snow over the panhandle of Nebraska and southwestern South Dakota, and some snow in the Denver area. And then notice all of these little showery looking elements coming across the coast of California, all the way from Redding down to San Diego, so across the whole long coast. And that is really just the front edge, the eastern edge of that storm that is well off the coast of California, which we'll look at now in the satellite. So we get a better view of that disturbance over here. And so you can see that it extends, actually, in some of its cloud elements, extends all the way to the Columbia River and into the state of Washington, and then down all the way to the southern coast, southern tip of California, so San Diego area. And you've got a really obvious cold upper level low that is going to wreak havoc over the next several days as it comes on shore and then goes up through the midsection of the country from Sunday through about Monday. So we'll pay more attention to that on Friday. I'll just draw your attention to one last feature, and that is, first, there's a nice counterclockwise rotating collection of clouds over the state of Hawaii. You may have heard this week that Maui has had some really devastating flooding. Somewhat unusual, but not entirely unusual, tropical type, extratropical, subtropical type disturbance that is affecting Hawaii with thunder showery weather. And this is something that doesn't happen all the time in the late winter in Hawaii, but when it does, it can be really devastating. And they're getting a good example of that today. This week, Monday through Wednesday. It's been really rainy couple of days in Hawaii, and that's caused some trouble in Maui. And then here is a really small scale little cyclone on the western edge of the Aleutian chain, considerably smaller in scale than the one that's not even yet organized off the California coast. But they come in all shapes and sizes, although they all have the same basic counterclockwise rotating comma cloud shape to them in one way, shape, or form. And we'll understand why in a few more weeks.